G'day people. Tonight I'm going to make another beef pie. The brisket pie was very good, but I felt it really needed some sort of gravy and maybe something else savoury to accentuate the beef a bit more. So what I've got a bit over 1 kilo of chuck here. It's all stewed up, and like the brisket, 3-hour cook, 3-hour stew, and smells beautifully beefy, really nice beefy smell about it. I tasted it before, yeah, it's good. Like the brisket, very good, very beefy. They didn't have any more brisket, so I bought chuck, and at this stage I think that there's probably not much to choose between brisket and chuck as far as making a pie is concerned. So anyway, I decided what I was going to do was stew up some mushrooms, quite a lot of mushrooms. So I'm going to have these savoury mushrooms, which I'm going to fry in butter, and I'm going to mix them with the chuck, and then I'm going to make some gravy. I'm just going to use cheap gravy powder out of a tin, but it'll be okay because it'll all get mixed up with the real beef and the real mushrooms. And even though the gravy out of the tin on its own is not great, but once it's mixed up with the beef, should be good. And hopefully that'll give the pie something that was missing. I really think it did need some gravy, like it was completely dry inside, which is great as far as the crust was concerned, as far as the pastry was concerned. It was really good that it was dry inside. But from the point of view of eating it, I felt it was lacking a bit of something, and that something was gravy. So this is going to, I hope, solve the problem. The other thing I've done is I bought some lard. I've never made short crust pastry with lard before, but you know, there's a first time for everything, so tonight's going to be that time. We're going to have pastry with lard. Should be interesting. It's always very dangerous when you make something for the first time. You never know how it's going to turn out. There's only one way to find out, and that's to try it. So this is going to be that time. That's about 550 grams of mushrooms. We want quite a bit of butter. So get a big pan, get a fair bit of butter, probably want some more maybe. There it is. Lard. So I'll try that a bit later, after I've got the mushrooms under control. Bit of an art to cooking mushrooms. There's a bit of an art to it. If you cook them, you dry cook them, the water doesn't come out. If the water doesn't come out, they don't go black. You want them to go black. That releases the flavour. You want the water to come out, and you want them to go black. That releases the flavour. You might wonder how white mushrooms can go black. How is it even possible? How is it even possible? Well, it is, folks. You're going to find out. So that's nearly melted, the butter. I guess it's probably about 2 tablespoons of butter I put in. Now I'm trying a different camera angle here because it's a bit awkward. I mean, I'm standing at an angle to the bench. It's not convenient. But the problem is the lighting. So the lighting's a bit on that side. So if I have the camera facing this way, what happens is I get the lighting on one side and not on the other, and it's a bit kind of weird. I mean, you can do it. I've done some clips like that, but it's not ideal. So I'm just experimenting. So probably everyone's got their own way of doing mushrooms. That's the way I do it. Plenty of butter. Get the butter hot. You want the butter pretty hot. And then put a lid on. Now what happens is the heat will make the moisture come out of the mushrooms, and the lid on will cause them to cook in steam, and the steam will get the water coming out really quickly, which is what I want. I want the water coming out, and then turn the heat up so that they fry as well, and then you'll see. Bit tired today, don't know why. I think I'll have a beer. Maybe I got too much done yesterday. Bunch of song arrangements yesterday. I even wrote a song yesterday using someone else's tune, but I wrote the words. Drinking Little Creatures, which is brewed in Fremantle, I believe. When I was in Fremantle, right next to Bond's statue, actually, Bon Scott's statue at Fremantle Docks, and the Little Creatures Brewery's right there. Big operation. I didn't go in, didn't have time, but big operation. I don't mind it. This is Little Creatures Pale Ale. Don't mind it. It's good. It's one of the best. I'd say one of the best Australian beers at the moment. Not bad. Not bad. I'm not sure what else they make. I don't know whether they make a lager or whether they make a Pacific ale. I don't know. But the pale ale's good. Yeah. Alright. The water's just starting to come out. Might video it. Let's go water. So there it is. Hopefully you can see the water bubbling away there. So we're just got to wait for it cooks in the water, so it's kind of braising, I suppose you could say. It cooks in the water, and then the water goes, and then it'll fry in what's left of the butter, and it'll go black. I'll come back when that happens. Alright. mushrooms have released all of their liquid. All the liquid's gone. I'm just going to put a bit of pepper in. They're looking good. So it's just a matter of putting the lid on so they steam, and then all the water comes out. Having them fairly hot, not too hot. Hot but not too hot. All the water comes out, take the lid off, the heat up, boil off the water, and then they start to fry in the fat. But they won't fry in the fat while I've got all the water in them. So this is what happens when you do it my way. Look at those lovely mushrooms. Look at that. Maybe I should have bought more. Probably I should have bought more. They're so good, I'm just going to have to eat one. Eat a piece. Mushrooms. Alright, they're tasting really good, so I'm going to put in the beef. In with the beef. Now I put quite a bit of salt in with the beef when I was cooking the beef, so that's why I didn't put any salt in with the mushrooms. But with the mushrooms, it'll hopefully balance out. I definitely should have put more mushrooms. I should have bought a kilo of mushrooms instead of just 550. Note to future self. But it'll be good. They'll just give a nice little highlight, little variation. I think the gravy is going to be the really important thing. Oh yeah. Mixing it through nicely now as the stew comes up to temperature. Let's just have a look at the stew with the mushrooms in it. As you can see, it's completely dry. Completely dry. Right, I'm just going to let that stay warm, and I'm going to make some gravy. I don't know how this is going to work, but I guess I'm going to find out. So I'm just going to make gravy, and I'll fry up some onions and make the gravy around the onions. And you know, they'll give it a bit of, the onions will help provide some alternative flavours to the beef. So it should all be good. That's how I think about it. And I'm just making this stuff up as I go, you know. It's what I do. Invent dishes. I don't know why other people don't seem to, well, some people invent dishes, but a lot of people don't. Most people don't. I don't know. I don't know why not, but it's the fun thing. Invent your own dishes. Great fun. Highly recommend it. And you know, sure, you're going to make mistakes. They're not all going to work. But give it a try. I mean, I don't know if this pie is going to work. I've never made it before, so I don't know. Just making it up as I go along. I dreamt it up, and I dreamt these things up post-mortem. After I've eaten something, I'll think about how I could improve it. So, you know, the brisket pie was good, but yeah, I did feel it needed a bit of something else. So if this works, I guess I'm really interested in how the gravy's going to go. If the gravy makes all the difference, then I'll probably experiment with gravy. I'll probably try making Guinness pie, that kind of thing. Beef Guinness pie. I mean, I've had beef Guinness pie in hotels, you know. I do like it. Beef Guinness, excellent. So we get, I might use oil for this. Probably some canola oil. Maybe 3 tablespoons. Yeah, probably about 3. The chuck I used was very lean. Very lean. I want some water. Very lean, so it's really not much fat at all. Hardly anything. Nothing to be seen in the way of fat. And we do need some fat, I think. So if you consider that the original chuck had no fat, or almost none, I mean there would have been a little bit. So we put 2 tablespoons of butter in with the mushrooms, and put 3 tablespoons of oil in. That's like 5 tablespoons of fat in a whole pie. You know, it's not more than a kilo. So looking at probably 1400 grams of food with just 5 tablespoons of oil. It's not a huge amount, but it's enough to make the difference, I hope, I think. Might need a little bit more water than that. A little bit more. I have to use it. This is the fake, the ersatz tablespoon, the 15ml one, the garbage one, the one that I hate. I hate it. So I'm just going to use more. I'll use at least 2 heaped. What do they say? Can't read. There's some specs. What's in this? Maltodextrin, #1 ingredient. Maize starch, salt, maize starch, so cornstarch, shortening powder, milk. Milk is shortening powder? That's weird. Natural flavours, maize dextrose, that's corn sugar, anti-caking agent, yeast extract, vegetable oil. Can't be much vegetable oil. It's mostly maltodextrin and maize starch. Anyway. What do they say? 2.5 level tablespoons. So what I'll do is I'll use three heaped tablespoons. And that'll give me at least a cup of gravy, which over, when you're mixing it with that much meat, that's probably about right. I'm guessing about right. Alright. So I'm just going to fry those onions and I'll be back. Alright. Got my onions nicely cooked. I'll put in 1, 2, approximately 3 tablespoons, or pretend tablespoons. Now we just stir it around, let it fry a little bit. It sticks to the bottom a bit, that's fine. And you can obviously make gravy yourself with just with flour, but you really want, if you're going to do that, you really want the juices from a roast. Just the onion on its own is probably not great, but that's why I use the pre-made pretend gravy. You know, it's just easy. It's got the anti-caking agent. It's less likely to make lumps. Theoretically, it shouldn't make lumps. Like if you eat it like it is, it's not great. But it'll be mixed up with the beef and it'll be fine. Not like real gravy, you know, like real gravy tastes great on its own, right? For some reason it was sticking to the bottom of the pan more than it normally does. I don't know why that is. But anyway. In my experience, the pretend gravies they're easy. Like, it's easy to make for things to go wrong when you're making your own gravy with flour. Like I watched my mother make it lots of times, but when I tried to make it, it never really worked. Never really worked. I don't know why. It should have worked, but it didn't. Anyway, and then I tried using the pretend gravy and just worked. Now let's just have a look. It's just easy, you know. Easy, and it's probably going to work. I'll just add some water. Stir it around. I'll put that back on the stove. Get it hot. It's just another kind of roux. Like the story with roux, and like the story with pancake batter. You know, once you get the paste working, then it won't make lumps. But you've got to get to that point. If your paste is lumpy, then you'll be in trouble. So you've got to get rid of all the lumps at the paste stage, and then you'll be fine. So I've got onion gravy here. There's always loads of salt in gravy, by the way. Pre-made gravy is always loaded with salt, so you don't want to be adding any. We want quite a bit of gravy, so add a bit more water. Maybe I should have put the whole rest of the tin in, maybe. Oh, this would probably be alright. think could have had a bit more. Anyway, so that's the gravy done. So I'm just going to mix that in with the stew and the mushrooms, and then I'll taste it. So I don't want the pie filling to be runny, but I want it to be, you know, nearly, almost runny, not actually. Gelatinous, you know, I want it a bit gelatinous. So, there's our stew. And we'll just throw in the onion gravy. Throw it in. Hope for the best. Man, what could possibly go wrong? What can possibly go wrong, eh? Stir it around. Stir it through. Alright, so the stew is now a lot moister. Much moister. And because that fake gravy stuff is full of cornstarch, it'll be gelatinous. Right, let's have a taste. Let's have a taste. That's what I'm talking about. Let's have a look. That is what I'm talking about. Not sure what went on there, something went on, but it's really good. It's got that little bit of gravy flavour that I want. I'm just going to put some pepper in. Taste it again. Little taste. Yep. That'll be fine. That'll be good. Okay. I've set the oven for 200 degrees. I'll just clean up and I'll come back to make the pastry. Okay, let's do this. Let's make some lard based pastry. Start with 2 cups of flour. There's one. There's another. Boom, boom. Now we want a good teaspoon of baking powder. So you want you want your pastry to rise. It's a short crust pastry. You want it to rise a bit. Maybe not too much, but you want it to rise a bit. And maybe you put some salt in. In this case, maybe just a level salt spoon. I stir it all around, Make sure that baking powder is mixed through the flour. Now we add the shortening, which in this case is lard. So we're going to add 125 grams of lard. Which is basically half a pack of lard. A bit more. $125, right, that's what we want. Now, we want to get this lard back in the fridge. Oh dear, the longer it stays out, the slipperier it gets. Slippery old lard. Alright, put that back in the fridge. I'll just wash my fingers. Now what I should have done, which I didn't do, but what I should have done was to take the lard out of the fridge and put it straight into the microwave, the same way I do with the butter, but I didn't do that. I didn't do that. Too bad. I can already tell by the consistency of the lard that it's going to melt a lot more than butter will over the same period of time, and I'm confident that it'll just make a dough. I think. Is there an egg in this? They put an egg in. You know what? There's no egg. There's no egg. Weird. So they call for a squeeze of lemon juice. Now I guess that'd be to activate the bicarb soda in the baking powder. I guess that's my guess. And just some water, a bit less than half a cup. The recipe says between half a cup and a quarter of a cup. I'm just going to scrape the lard off the beater, scrape it off the sides of the bowl. Chop it up a bit. You're supposed to use your fingers really. You're supposed to rub it through the dough. And you know, I could have, but I figured that the beater would do the job. As long as it's not stuck to the sides, which it's not. So, maybe a little bit more lemon juice. That's got to be enough. A bit of water. Let's see how we go. First time doing it. It's just starting to come together. Looking promising. I don't want to overdo the water. Maybe a little bit more. Changing the sound of the motor. It's coming together. Alright, there it is. There it is, my first ever lard pastry. A bit of a mess of the beater here, of the mixer. Managed to get some flour down the back. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how I did it, but it did it. Let's have a feel, see what we got here. Yeah, feels right. Now there it is. It's like the butter. Feels the same, much the same as the butter-based short crust that I usually make. Feels like that, but obviously doesn't look the same. It's much whiter on account of it being made of lard. Lots of lard in there. I suppose when you think about it, nearly calling for a taxi. When you think about all the lard there is in there, and 5 tablespoons of fat, and so what would half a block of lard, 125 grams of lard, which would be like 8 or 9 tablespoons of lard, right? So quite a bit of fat in the end, which should be why anytime you see someone fat, especially a fat man, if you're in England, the question will be asked, who ate all the pies? And the finger will be pointed at the fat bastard who ate all the pies. So that's why you get fat from eating pies, because there's all the fat. There's so much fat in the pastry, and there's fat in the filling. Don't worry about it. Pies are great. I'm sure they're good for you. Just don't eat too many of them. Don't have too much at one sitting. But they are great. Pies, love them. Love them. Bring them on. Alright. Now according to the book, if you do things by the book, you're supposed to put it in the fridge half an hour, let it cool down, let it chill. That's what the book says. And you know, they're probably right, but I want to see what happens if I don't. What happens if I don't let it chill? Is it going to work? I mean, I never chill down the butter-based short crust that I make. So maybe I don't need to chill down the lard based. Maybe it's fine. I mean, it looks fine. It's rolling out alright. It's quite firm. It holds together pretty well though. Holds together pretty damn well. I'd say it's holding together. It holds together better than the butter based. If I had to say, that's what I would say. It's a stronger, so far, I'm thinking it's a stronger pastry. It feels stronger, you know, when you go to roll it, it's more resistant to rolling. It likes to hang together. It's also splitting apart a bit, so I don't know why that is. Not enough moisture, I guess. I need a pie dish of some kind. This looks like a good pie dish, this one. Excellent pie dish in my opinion. It's deep. It'll be well suited to this pie. So we just roll it over, pop it in. Yeah. So I don't see any great need to put it in the fridge. And if you want to, you can. Not going to worry me, but seems to work alright. Really does have deep sides this. I thought I had too much. I thought it'd roll out more than I needed to, but in fact it's a little bit less than I need. But it's okay, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I don't like going right up to the edge with these. Like I said before, I think these pie dishes, the lip is a bit too generous. A little bit too generous. It's funny making this recipe without making pastry without egg, because you know I've always used a bit of egg. At least one egg, always. And this time there's no egg, and it kind of feels weird, but it's the recipe. And the recipes come out of Cookery the Australian way. So the story is, originally I usually use rich short crust pastry, and the rich short crust has an egg, but the non-rich, I guess that's the short crust for the plebs, you don't get any egg. There's no egg in it. Just water and lard and water. So the question is, do I beat up an egg and make some egg wash to seal the case and to make the top stick to the bottom? I mean, I suppose I should, shouldn't I? I think I should. So let's do that. I'll just beat up an egg. While no one's looking, I'll salt an egg. I'll beat it up. Let's go with the egg. There's an egg. So normally I just use the white, but since I've got the whole egg here, I might as well use the whole egg. I mean, I'm not going to use the yolk for the pastry, so let's put the whole lot in. Alright, we need a pastry brush. Pastry brush and a fork. Right. Pretend I'm making a mini omelette. One of these days I'll do an omelette recipe when I've run out of everything else. Don't hold your breath. Got a lot of recipes to get through. I've got a lot of recipes to get through, and I keep inventing new ones, so God knows if I'll ever get to the end. I mean, I might, or I might not. I don't know. It's like music, you know, will I ever get to the end? I've got more than 260 songs, right, more than. And they're all different. If you've heard any of my songs, hopefully you'll agree they're all different to each other, they're not the same. I mean, if you think they're all the same, then that's a bit of a worry for me, but I don't believe that they're all the same. I believe they're all different. And I believe they're all good. And I've got 260 of them. It's a lot more than most people have got. Much more. Alright. Let's do the top, the lid. Let's make a lid. Some more flour. More flour, sprinkle around. So, and as always, we make a ball, make a disc. I don't know what other people don't do this, I don't think. Or if they do, I haven't seen it. But I always do it. Alright. Autobots, roll out. Show my age there. The kids these days even know what Autobots are. Do they even know the difference between heroic Autobots and evil Decepticons? Do they even know? Whose side are you on? The side of evil? Or the side of right? I mean, do you want your robots to transform into cars, or do you want them to transform into other stuff like planes and guns and stuff like that? I mean, what's your preference? What do you want your robot to do? Do you want a robot like Bumblebee? A car like Bumblebee? Or Hot Rod? Do you want a big truck? Do you want a big truck like Optimus Prime? Optimus Prime. Or Ultra Magnus? One side, the leader is a truck. The other side we have Megatron. A gun. Dirty big cannon. Pick your sides. And you know, I don't know if it's still the case, but I think you might still be able to do it. When you get your number plate in Victoria, I think you could get a Decepticon embossed into the number plate, or a heroic Autobot. I don't know if it's still the case, but I'm pretty sure it used to be the case. Right, we're all but done. In goes the heroic stew. Heroic stew from Heroic Autobots. Let's go. Man, I made so much. I made too much. It's going to be bulging out the sides, this one. I don't know why it would be bulging at the sides, I don't know, because I'm pretty sure the last one, the brisket one I made, I had over a kilo of brisket, and I had, is it 400 or 500 grams of carrots? No, it wasn't like this. It wasn't bulging like this. This is absolutely bulging. Right, so we just put the lid on top. Good as gold. Easy as you like. How's your father? And we are done. We are done. Trim off the unwanted lardy short crust. We don't need to go right to the edge. Cut it out. Just cut it out. Just going to go around about halfway to the lip. Like that. That's what we want. Yes, 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 like that. Alright. Brush it. Brush it with the egg wash. All over. This is going to be a masterpiece, I hope. I mean, it's feeling like it's going to be one, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm feeling good about it. Sometimes when you make things for the first time, if you know what you do and they really work, they work really well the first time. Sometimes, not always. But yeah, sometimes they just work really well. Right. Let's have some holes. 9 holes, 1 in the middle, 8 around the outside. Steam out in the oven. 200 degrees. I'm guessing it'll be 30 minutes to 40 minutes. I mean, the inside's already cooked, the filling's totally cooked, and not only is it cooked, it's hot. So yeah, it should be pretty quick. Alright, so I'll come back when it's done. Alright, well, that was about 35 minutes, and I've left the pie cool down a bit for 5 or 10 minutes while I finish with the veggies. Stop it. Stop it. Stupid phones. Right, let's have a look at this pie. So yeah, it turned out pretty well, I think. It's interesting the way that the crust has stuck together all around the side. You see how the crust is pulled away from the side all the way around. Now, that won't happen with butter. That won't happen. So that is a difference already with the lard. So I can see how people make pork pies now. It's just the way the lard works. Alright, so see if we can get this out in one piece. It's never normally possible, but never know, might get away with it with the lard. Look at that. It's pretty much one piece. Here's a couple of stray mushrooms. Beautiful. So, I'll give you a look at this pie. My God, there is so much depth. Look at all that meat. Man, that is a thick pie. That is a thick, thick pie. And here it is on the plate. I do want to add a bit more in the way of veggies, so I've got some carrots here. I've got some carrots with just a little bit of honey. Not a lot, just a little bit. Let's do this again. This will probably be the money shot for the thumbnail. Probably. Probably. Right. The moment of truth. What is it actually like? Let's get that little bit of pastry. A bit of that, a bit of mushroom, a bit of pastry. Good to go. Yes, a savoury masterpiece. You have to like meat, you have to like beef, and you have to like mushrooms. I mean, it's kind of like the brisket one. It's kind of like it. You know, they're both pies. They're both beef. They're both short crust pastry. So the difference between the lard short crust and the butter short crust, I mean, there's the big structural difference, you know, in the way that it holds together better with the lard. That's definitely the case. But in terms of flavour, not that different. Not hugely different. I mean, the butter has definitely got a richer, the butter's got a richer flavour than the lard. But the texture of the pastry, very much the same. Like to bite into, very much the same. But yeah, it's a rich, savoury pie. You want to be hungry to eat this. The addition of the gravy and the mushrooms has made a bit of difference. I mean, texturally it's made a difference. The filling's a little bit moister, you know, a little bit moister. So I'm wondering, you know, whether I should put the chutney on top. Because if you put the chutney on top, you'll drown out the flavour of the mushrooms. I mean, it's nice the way it is. You've got the mushrooms and all that beef. All that beef. And the onion gravy. So it's really savoury. But traditional pie in Australia always has tomato sauce. Always. So I'm putting some on. I mean, I've eaten half the serving without the sauce, so I'm going to eat the other half with the sauce and just compare the two. It's just the Australian way. As soon as you put the sauce on, bang, straight in meat pie. Yep. And truly, it's not that different from the brisket pie. It's not hugely different. It really isn't. They're both extremely beefy. They're both got the short crust pastry. Both covered in tomato sauce. I just got a bit of mushroom then. So you can still sort of taste the mushroom, but not as strongly as you do without the sauce. So I think maybe maybe for that reason, if you're going to put sauce on it, maybe don't put mushrooms in the pie. So the alternative would be carrots. Like I did with the brisket pie, just put carrots in. Or you can just have it without anything else, just plain pie, you know, just plain meat, plain beef. It's nice to have something in there though, I think. Right, I have to call this a success. You saw the pie, the way it all hang together. The lard really helps to make it stay together. I don't know that the flavour of the lard it's not quite as rich, or not as obviously rich as the butter. You know, butter's got a really rich flavour about it, and you know when you've eaten a piece of butter. But I don't know if it's better, but it's no worse. So I'd say they're about the same in terms of flavour. And the pastry I used water instead of milk, and no egg. It still tastes much the same, very much the same. So lard or butter, water or milk probably doesn't make a huge difference. But oh my god, there's so much meat in there, there's so much beef in there. So if you're going to make this pie, better make sure you love chuck. If you love chuck, you'll love this, because it really delivers. It's just full of beefy goodness, absolutely chock full. If that's your bag, make it. Success!